podcast. Xtra is hosted by Kyle and Ajay. Each week, they discuss Nigeria's current events and latest news. Thanks for joining and for being a part of this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Keep the conversation going as we give you something extra. News you can use. Xtra is an Icon production.
Hey, man.
Yo. It's
How have you been?
9:10 p.m. Good.
Yeah. You had to leave our time zone for some time.
Yep, I'm way ahead of you, man. Way ahead of you. Two more hours already beat tomorrow, so.
Yeah. Well, we do appreciate you staying up and
keeping it real, man.
Keeping it real with the updates on Nigeria.
Holy cow.
So how are things? How was the trip?
Yeah, the trip was great. It's the COVID restrictions are kind of waning, so a lot of countries don't have the that you have to have a test beforehand or whatever. It's just more or less making sure your vaccination card. Many are also reducing the mask restrictions. So, I think most people are coming to grips with what's going on with COVID. Just getting on with life. As you know, Nigeria never had that problem. COVID was a minor concern compared to everything else that's going on. If you followed our news, you can use this week. It's continued onslaught, destruction. So political campaigns aside, there's we always say our hope for Nigeria, but it's hard to have that hope when so much junk is going on. So
we do know that we have been preparing for quite a bit, and we weren't able to have the our podcast for the past weeks. But yes, just so much has just been happening, and so many things are happening in Nigeria right now. Election season is coming up, and so many people gearing up. PDP, APC, and just the different candidates.
Labour Party, SNP,
Labour Party,
and whatever.
Yeah, so we really want to see hope for Nigeria, and I think at the times where the hope feels like it's just not there, it's actually the time that you need to really fight to keep it alive, to really allow people to be hopeful in the potential that we know that Nigeria has. So just so many things that have just been happening. I know last time that we spoke, there was a sad issue of Deborah, Emmanuel, and then there was the massacre of the people inside the church. It just, many times, I just think about how people get through this stuff just in Nigeria, it happening again and again and again. Like, what do you do? How do you comprehend it? But the people are still trying to be resilient. They are still trying to be hopeful. A lot of the young people are realizing the importance of getting involved in voting and
you wouldn't believe what the young people. You hate to pop their balloon or burst their bubble, whatever the expression is, but so many people are saying we need to register to vote. It's our chance. We need to protest with our vote, and that's true in every other country probably in the world. But Nigeria, I'm not sure it's going to happen. We just the meeting we had just an hour ago. They've lost their voter card. The PVC or whatever they call
PVC. PVC card.
I've heard there's thousands, if not millions, of cards sitting idle. No one's claimed them. So what does it say? People registered to vote, didn't come to pick it up, or they registered
And
not
then they were never
truthfully, and
passed
then
out.
the card, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's already a mess. And then the other added to that is you're hearing stories of people who maybe I lived in Abuja for the last 2 years. I registered to vote 6 months ago or a month ago, and now being transferred to Lagos or Jos or Kaduna. How do I get my? Because if not, I have to go back to where I registered to vote, my card
Exactly.
to vote. I
Exactly.
want to
Yeah.
do it in Kaduna because that's where I'm living and working now. So that's another process. So it's
Yeah.
the discussions that are going on the radio, on the media here. It's crazy what's going on with voter registration. It's a simple thing in the U.S., Europe. Go with your ID, whether it's a driver's license or a passport or some ID shows that you're there. Maybe a piece of mail that you can vote in this district. Boom, you're good to go.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, it takes you queue. I mean, you see the pictures of the queues of people, hundreds, if not thousands of people queuing up to get their PVC. And then even then, are they getting it?
Yeah.
Apparently
Yeah.
not.
That is the question. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like if they know it's going to be a problem to, you know, like I don't understand like how like even the year of the election, like I know that the PVC thing it is important, but I think that for a nation you need a bit more you need more time to plan it out because
Well,
of
no,
these
no,
little
not even
issues.
time.
People need to be
Just
able
need the
to get it
process
and
to
access
do it.
it. Yeah, you know, and I don't know
I
how.
mean,
Like it's like the election is like next year, right?
yeah, 2020 February 2023 is presidential. So they're queuing up and they're sitting there in the hot sun all day in the rain, whatever. They get to the place and they're told, or maybe they never even processed one. They're told that it's all what they call those your fingerprints and all that stuff. It's not working. We can't
Biometrics.
get signal. It's not biometrics. We can't get connected. This is the best you can do.
Yeah,
This is the best you can do when the future of the country, when the fate of the country is on the line. This is the best you can do. You're not prepared.
yeah,
Not prepared.
yeah,
And that's and that, if this is any indication, this election is going to be fraught with trouble. Running up to it already, posters are
yeah,
PDP's chosen his Abubakar's chosen his vice presidential candidate. APC hasn't, but it's all governors. Just posters everywhere. So it's
yeah, yeah,
it's going to be messy, man. It's going to be messy.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. That
China,
is
let's
just
talk about China.
yeah, that was just a bit of just what we have been kind of trying to follow up, but for our news of the week. And for those of you that are just tuning in, this is Icon's podcast, Extra News You Can Use. And
That's
we
agent.
talk about the Nigerian news headlines for the week with Kyle. And we just share our thoughts on just what we're reading and wondering if those of you that are watching or you who listen to us talk weekly are having some of the same thoughts that we're having about what we're reading and what we're hearing from Nigeria. So continue to listen and follow Icon on our social media handles and get involved. Use your voice, speak up, bring hope to Nigeria. All right. And
Use
for our
your voice.
first article, I think we have here China continues to dominate Nigeria's economy, trade deficit, debt skyrocket, NBS.
Yeah, China continues to be. I mean, any other country, any time where you have someone helping another country, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
Supposedly.
yeah,
But when you
yeah,
have when it's China, your feelers on the back of your head start to go up. What do they want? What are they getting out of it? So
yeah, yeah. I mean, part of me, like, even as I was reading the article, like, I was also thinking about the leaders that are signing off to this stuff. Like, are they protecting the interests of the Nigerians and trying to do business in a way that they can bring things that can help develop the country, and start off certain things, but you know, at the tail end, what
next
happened
question.
to I mean, man,
No,
it's
I
just
mean, this is serious. when you have when you remember the story, right? When you go buy a phone, people will go and they say, Gary, I'm giving you some money. Please go find me a good phone in the market. Well, do you want a China one, or do you want a
Yeah,
Belgian, like a second new one, a used one, or do you want the original one? So the price goes on. So the China one, brand new, is cheap, but they tell you,
yeah,
but it's only good for maybe a year. Then you have to get a new one. Everyone
yeah,
knows the quality that's coming in. That's talking about the major importer of goods is coming from
yeah,
China. So whether
yeah.
that's household goods, whether that's tools or even medical supplies,
Hmm.
it's China.
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm not saying China makes bad stuff wholeheartedly, but by and large, what they're bringing into Nigeria doesn't pass muster. I mean, there's America probably would reject half of it. You know,
yeah,
it's knockoff.
yeah,
They have the shiny brand logo on it, but it's not the original. It's a
yeah,
knock.
yeah. And and I feel that what you're saying is right. Where are those that are monitoring what is coming in to make sure that it is reliable stuff? You know,
Yeah, quality,
Nothing.
dependable.
You know, I mean, you know, and and it is a lot of missed opportunity, for them to get the right stuff that can really build the country and like the nation. So I
Exactly.
don't
So you remember when they
like
did the
all it
juice thing
is
a
I'm
couple of
just
years
in debt.
ago?
Yeah,
So they stopped imports from South Africa, from France, and all this stuff. So they stopped juice because they said we want to have it locally made. All juice must be locally produced in Nigeria. Great idea. But
yeah,
unfortunately, what happened is a lot of the pulp, a lot of the ingredient for the juice, the juice, the extract is coming from South Africa or France. They're just mixing with water and using bottles here. But that's a start. I give them credit. That's a start. Same with these products. Why don't we say, like, remember Peugeot has factories in Nigeria where they get the parts in and they would assemble them in Nigeria. Same with Volkswagen. They did that for a while. Why don't we push China to say, instead of you shipping in crappy phones, why don't we build up the market, the labor force here, and force you to have, you can come, but you must build a factory. We'll assemble them here. You can bring your
yeah,
parts in, but we'll provide the
yeah,
labor. That's the
yeah,
solution, instead of the parts that are already from China that aren't good.
yeah,
You're not helping anyone. You're hurting them. Versus having a factory of people do stuff here.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
labor on the road. A lot of the construction workers and the roads are done by Chinese companies, and
yeah,
it's sometimes hard to see Nigerians working as much as Chinese. So
yeah. And it's pretty interesting, like even what the report says that is imported into Nigeria. Like,
yeah,
look at it's a motorcycles, machines for
yeah,
um, reception of voice, electrical apparatus, lines for telephone,
yeah.
macro parts for machinery, rubber, plastics, crude salts. I mean, and these are things that even Nigeria can even produce for itself. But as
But even if they can't, they could assemble it for
as you
motorcycles.
said, that should be
Yeah.
it should be done by Nigerians here in Nigeria.
Make a partnership out of it, a true partnership, not a dependency on crap. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
I would not. I would not. If Americans were importing junk stuff, I'd be the first to say, "Don't take it. Send it back."
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, saying if Nigeria was receiving American products that were
yeah.
substandard, subpar, and they do. I remember a time when we were trying to do. You'd buy a section of a container. You'd bid. You'd pay maybe $100, $500, and you'd get a weighted out amount of computers from the U.S. or whatever. And you don't know if it
Hmm.
works or doesn't work, but you're hopeful that something is going to work out of it. Eventually, the Nigeria said, "Stop that. We don't. You're not your dumping grounds." Great, that's great. How do we stop from a dumping grounds into something that's productive? How do we make a value out of this?
Yeah,
Not this
yeah,
way. This is not. The dependency on China is way too much. They give these loans out. We pay them back. We don't pay them back. I mean, they pretty much own Nigeria's
exactly.
debt.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
that was what I wanted to also bring up too, and how, yeah, and even with like the debt that I've read so many articles on what Nigeria is borrowing, from
Yeah.
China from here, and I'm just wondering, one, where are they getting the money to, like, how, like, is there any plan to pay it back? So after, this president goes out, is that going to be a problem for the next president and whatever plan that he has to move the country in a certain direction? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's to me,
You're
it's
stuck
it's
with that.
yeah,
Because once you sign it as a country, whether this president or that president, you're stuck with that. That you sign an agreement that you'll pay it off over a certain time. And you're right. If they don't pay it off, what's going to happen?
yeah,
What eventually happens is then China now owns parts of Africa, specifically Nigeria, parts of the road, parts of the airport, parts of the infrastructure that's here. Who knows what's going to stop them from reclaiming that? Hey, you defaulted on the loan. Now we're going to take this. You know.
yeah,
So that's the new colonial masters, as some would say.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that is why, like, even the churches, the communities, they need to pay more attention to, or they have to have knowledge of economics, I would think, to also understand how some of this stuff, kind of works, and it affects the country in the long run. You know,
Yeah,
um, with that is why getting involved is so important. If you don't get involved, you won't be able to see and understand how these things work, and all people are just going to do is just complain about how it's not, like, they're not understanding how it's working. So
yeah.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
Keep an eye
just
on that one. China's
yeah,
continues to
keep an eye
cause
on that.
problems. So you know,
All
I
right, and
hope it be a good story.
for our next article, suspected herdsman kill 15 race houses in Benue. Um,
Again, this is ongoing. People continue to say that these things. Oh, this is terrible. What happened in Owo? What happened in Sokoto with Deborah? What happened in
yeah,
Kaduna? What happened in Benue? I mean, this isn't a one-off. These things are regularly happening. I mean,
yeah,
this one makes a lot more news because 15 people died. Or yeah,
yeah,
it makes news. Unfortunately, when one or two people die, it doesn't make news because that's common. But when
yeah,
15 die and one killing, and that's the government report. I guarantee you, like the Owo, the church massacre on the Sabbath, that's much more than 50. And they're saying 15 here. It's going to be more than that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I, I, I just don't. I can't understand how people cannot see and hear these stories and not be appalled by how
Yeah.
long it has been going on, and just you know, they are always talking about weapons. I mean, even look at the picture. This
Well,
is
that
like this
that
a
picture.
high
Sorry,
powered.
sorry, that picture is not. That sometimes that pictures that's used often for Fulani stuff, and who knows where it even came from. So I don't even trust
Yeah,
this picture. I don't know why they continue to use that. It's like it makes the most sense because there's cows in the background and the guy with a machine gun. So it's like
yeah,
to me, it's whatever. But the true fact is, you're right. I mean, these things. How one person dies, you should be appalled. One person gets
yeah,
injured. One house gets attacked. You should be appalled. You should be throwing up your hands going, "What are we doing? Why are we stopping it?"
yeah.
Security force. So as you know, security forces in Nigeria are not local. So they don't run by the city, the village, by the local government, by the state. They're run by the federal agencies. The
By the
police,
federal, yeah,
it's a federal agency. The army is only there because the governors allowed the army to be there or invited the army to be there, but they run at the behest of the federal government.
hmm,
So what this has got to change. The local police, local people would be able to better handle their security because they know the situation, they know the scenario, they know the scenery. But yet you
yeah,
get outsiders that come in and they're either afraid to tackle when they hear machine guns, or they wait, or they're part of it. What's the story? Are they complicit in it? Are they part of the attackers? Some people say yes. They show up in military fatigues with heavy weaponry. I mean, that picture, yeah, it's a little it's a little overused, but there's truth to it. They show up in heavy artillery.
Yeah, and you do hear stories of them walking around with AKA guns,
Yeah,
herders that are moving around, and
yeah. I
even
mean,
with that, it's I mean, I just can't. And even with the church massacre that happened, I'm still surprised by how it's not getting attention. You know, like I think that we should be more outraged over that. You know, kids, older people, just people in a church, just on a regular Sunday service. You know,
Sunday
you
service, Monday afternoon, Monday morning, Friday night, anytime,
yeah,
anytime attack happens. But we're of some of the I would blame some of the Nigerian media because they don't often investigate and find out. They say unknown gunmen or suspected herdsmen or whatever. We've got to stop. We've got to start naming people who they are. I mean, if a Fulani comes in, a normal Fulani wouldn't do that. A Fulani who cares about his herd and his family, he wouldn't come in with the and kill people. He wouldn't bite the hand that feeds him.
yeah, yeah,
Militants are the ones that are doing this. The youth, the ones that are being displaced or whatever, I don't know, but they've taken up the gun and they decided to take matters in their own hand, whether they're being given directives by on high is another thing. We can talk about that another day. But the fact is, these aren't normal Fulani militant. These aren't normally Fulani herdsmen. These are Fulani militants. It's a
yeah,
distinct difference, and we got to call a spade a spade.
yeah, yeah. And even with that, like I feel that the victims know who attacked them. And as you said, like it's more of the reporting.
Yeah,
When you hear the victim saying, this is what I heard, this is what I saw. How can I mean? Is there any way that anyone that got a good look at the attacker can be wrong about the attacker? You
yeah.
know,
No, I mean, eyewitness account. What are you going to believe, right? So when you discount their testimony or their statements, you're basically telling them we don't believe you. How is that
and
even possible in this day and age?
and it's not just one person. Like when a community
Right.
is attacked, you have various
Yeah.
people coming saying exactly this was what happened, but then some way
Yeah.
somehow, and like even I myself, like I have friends that have lived in some of these villages. I would read an article maybe about like a attack or something, and man, I would kind of call and just out of curiosity, man, did you hear about what happened? Like what did and even some of the numbers, probably where it's probably 10 that might have been reported, you would hear different numbers by people that are there within the village or had to run. So it's
Yeah.
to a me it's like it's hard to understand some of the reasoning with the with the reporting. Like you would hear about hundreds and hundreds of Boko Haram terrorists that have surrendered or that were slaughtered or something, and then just like you said with this other picture, it's just some picture, but where is the evidence, or like how do we know that these numbers are actually correct that we're even reading about in the articles, so
Yeah.
man, it's high. Yeah,
Yep, it's sad because you're telling people that their lives, their words don't matter.
yeah,
We'll tell you what you should feel. We'll tell you what you should believe. The narrative continues that it's herders versus farmers, or it's herders retaliating for something the farmers did. Okay, then tell us, show us the proof that you have. We've never discounted that Christian farmers will retaliate. We've never said they don't because don't
yeah,
trust the security forces to help them. So they're going to take matters in their own hands. They shouldn't, but they do. What do you expect? Right? They're not driving around with tanks, heavy weaponry. They may go out with cutlasses and deng guns, local made guns, but at the same time, you're not protecting them. You're not even offering them the hope that you will help them. You
Yeah.
don't come on time to defend them. In fact, when you do come, you're late. People are already dead, and then you don't believe them. You don't take their testimony. So
Yeah.
it doesn't add up. You're going to take your matters in your own hands, unfortunately, and we wouldn't advocate this. We wouldn't say this, but that's what often happens. And how do you tell them not to? Right?
Yeah.
If I was living in that village with my wife and my kids, and I knew that the Fulani militants were coming, and I had a gun, I would use that gun.
Yeah.
If I knew that I was told that they're nearby, would I call the police to help me to say, let's go find out what they're doing here, whatever? Maybe, but sometimes
Yeah.
they're not because they're going ahead and doing it themselves. And that's
Yeah.
where the retaliation comes in and whatever. But by and large, the amount of deaths that happen between the Fulani militants and the people they attack, the Christian farmers, a lot more Christian farmers are being killed than Fulani militants.
Yeah. 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 And that again is why I'm so grateful that Icon did the report that Icon did. If you haven't found it, message us on our social media outlets, any one of us, any one of them, and we can send you a link where you can download it for free. It is a book with evidence, with live testimonies, with with documented evidence of what these people are going through, and the numbers are just appalling. And even half of it couldn't even be fit into that
Yeah.
book, and
Yep.
and it was done in 2020. I know we are trying to update and get a new version, a new updated version of it to make it current, maybe into 2022, 2023. But as Henry Bernard Levy said, you have to challenge yourself to have the will to see. You have to challenge yourself to just take a look at some of these numbers to know how serious what is happening actually is, and what the people are going through. These are just farmers.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have no military training, nothing, but to see
And
how
it's worse
people
now
is doing.
because of the Ukraine crisis,
Yeah,
the fuel crisis. I mean, average farmers aren't able to even buy the meal for tomorrow. They're just thinking about today. So
yeah,
their whole livelihood depends on getting their crops grown, cultivated, and sold, right?
yeah,
If they
yeah,
can't be protected, if their crops come and be destroyed, or if they aren't able to farm, they don't feel protected to go farm, you're going to lose a huge sum of people. 50% of Nigeria is the agricultural, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're basically saying we don't care about you, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, the victims, that is what they hear. Again, look at how even some of the victims repeatedly have said, as they attack us and we run away, they come into our lands and they overtake it. They live in our houses.
Yep.
They have
They take they
repeatedly said
they
that,
take the
and nothing
farm. They
has
bring
been.
the cows
Yeah.
in. Yep. Yep.
They bring, animals to just come and walk through the whole entire farm and eat up the crop
Yep.
that they were trying to save up for the whole, year, and
I've heard
and
stories where
people
they've
just live off the land.
to the farm. So let's go because we're all close to each other. Let's go farm, and then the
Yeah,
ones farming, and then they
yeah,
leave. Like they that's what they do now. Others they don't even feel safe doing that because maybe they'll go out one day, take out the weeds, all that stuff. Come back the next day, all the crops, all the whatever's growing is cut down. So where's the protection? Not only do they get attacked and killed, their houses get burned, or they get overtaken, or they get driven out. They can't even farm. I mean, it's add insult to injury. Where's the protection? Where's the intervention of the government, who
yeah,
says that they've got it under control? They're handling it. Lies.
yeah.
All right, next story, man. It's a
Um,
similar one.
and that one, let me see. I'm trying to find it here, and that next one should be the.
The Owo massacre.
Okay. Yeah. Give me just a second here. I think I, I think I got the wrong file in. This will just take a second here, and just a couple of clicks away. Okay.
Yeah, I got the map in the background. I can be showing people where everything is.
I keep on thinking that I pulled it up. Okay. Okay. All right. I got it. I got it.
So, can I read the title?
Yes, you can read the title. I got it.
Owo massacre, a reprisal attack for evicting criminal herdsmen. So Owo is an Ondo state, which is in the south, predominantly Yoruba ethnic group, close to Akure, which is
Are you there? Can you hear me? All right. Before he can come back on and reconnect, because I think he froze. The story that he's talking about was the O massacre, and he and I were talking about it before, about the church that that um, um, the unknown gunmen or terrorists, they walked into and they gunned down people. And apparently they are saying that there was a reprisal attack that had happened, and the attack was just so deadly and just so gruesome. I I don't even know like how even the people of that community, you know, are trying to even deal with just the aftermath of just that attack, you know, and they caught some of the perpetrators, if I'm not mistaken, and they have some, but um, I think that the damage has been done, you know, from the children, from the older people that were there and they were affected by um, this event. Is, man, it's just too tragic, just too tragic. Um, this is what you're seeing here is just a picture in this particular article of just inside the church, you know, and you can just see glass just everywhere, you know, just to let you know, like level to which how dangerous the weapons are that they are using. Um, and it has been termed as Black Sunday, you know, and yeah, more than 40 innocent worshippers, including children, men, and women, nursing mothers, were murdered in cold blood by gunmen as they gathered for Pentecost Day on Sunday. Um, and yeah, you know, and this is just one of many attacks that continuously happen, you know, and that was why earlier I was asking, like, why is it people are not appalled by these happenings, you know? Um, it's just sad that, you know, these things continue to happen and they continue to occur the way that they do. Um, yeah. Um, let me see if I can find our last article here, which is a pretty interesting one to me. And I wish Kyle was here to kind of talk with us about it, um, because it. All right, let's see if I can pull it up here. All right. All right, I'm just trying to talk with Kyle here.
I'm back.
All right, man, welcome back. um, um, I just spoke about the um old massacre, but let me try to pull that up just to see if you have something to say to add to what I said. But
Yeah,
I just
no,
gave a bit of a little background about what happened, and
I mean, did you mention that it was mostly Igbos that were killed?
no, I
Okay.
did not mention that.
So we have one of
Um,
our staff down there right now, kind of covering the incident, and then as well as staying for the funeral tomorrow. It's tragic. I mean, this is a Catholic church. A lot of the Igbo community, that was their church. They were just leaving mass, and they say at least 50 died, and there's over 127, 130 that are still in the hospital.
yeah,
And that's 50 Igbos that died. Igbos. So they say there's more other ethnic groups, maybe Yorubas, that have been killed as well. So
they
we
were
don't know the
there.
final toll. The toll the government is saying is 30, 38, 40 maybe, but it's a lot more than that. And the locals, as you probably said, it would believe it was Fulani militants. You know,
Yeah.
they're retaliating because of the anti-grazing. You know.
Yes. Yeah. I was showing them this picture, and I was just mentioning, you know, as you just see the glass all over the ground,
Yeah.
you can only imagine the power of the rifles that they were using as they just walked into the church and just started to
two
fire
sticks
on the people.
they believe 2 sticks of dynamite, boom boom, and then they started shooting. I mean, it was just cold-blooded. you know the government was quick to say it's ISIS. Other people are saying it's Fulani. So again, tell us the truth, show us your evidence that you think it's ISIS, allow
Yeah.
others to say that it's Fulani militants, and then we'll come to a conclusion once the evidence is given. But if you're just flat out saying it's this, for what reason? Are you trying to avoid something? What's going on?
Yeah. 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 I yeah. I just can't believe it. You know, again, you know, I just read this some part before you got back on. More than 40 innocent worshipers, including children, men,
No, it's more than that.
women,
More than that.
nursing
50,
mothers.
50 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's pregnant women. There's and in the hospital, Lawrence is saying people have lost their limbs. A leg has been cut off because they whatever here. A woman who's pregnant lost both her legs. I mean, yes, the death toll is just devastating. But at the same time, what about those lives that are injured? They'll never be able to work again. Their shock of going into a church or whatever is going
Yeah.
to be with them for life. I mean, these are the things that no one's talking about. The government just kind of hush hush cut. If it was just a one-off event in Nigeria, it would make national news, right?
Yeah.
International news. It'd be spoken of around the world. What happened in this church? There was a church attack. Was it the Philippines or Indonesia or something, where it made headlines for days and days and days,
Yeah.
because it was a one-off thing. But this is an ongoing thing, and we just get numb to the violence, and
Yeah.
it just makes me sick that we
Yeah.
can't deal with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what's the
Yeah.
last one? before I get cut off again.
Yeah. um, the last one that we have here is the um,
The Kaduna one.
yeah, is the Kaduna one. That one, that one again is another one that is just I don't know. It's just really surprising to me. You
The
know,
details are out there. The details, the
yeah,
information's out there, but who's reporting it? I mean, initially, what was it? It was helicopters are being deployed to kill innocent people, and to them, that's probably the truth. I tend to say, well, okay, maybe you're missing, maybe the timing, you weren't there. I'll tend to say these helicopters, military helicopters, were not used against people. I would want to believe that, but in Nigeria, I don't know. I really don't know. I can't say for certain.
yeah. Honestly, and like that's why, like I feel that reading the reports are really important. I do know that the human rights groups have written out several reports saying that even like the helicopters and the weapons that the government has been receiving has been actually doing more harm than good
Exactly.
BM
Yep.
because there have been a lot of mistakes made.
Yep.
They have
I
gone
mean,
and
this
fired
isn't the
on the
first
wrong
time.
people. They have yeah,
Exactly. They took out a
you know,
whole 50 people up in is it Adamawa or up in
yeah,
Yobe or someplace. With the planes when they got the planes. I mean, that was the
yeah,
fear. That was the fear we had as an organization. We said, don't give these military weapons to Nigeria. It was an Obama era something that was blocked and stopped, and then I
yeah,
don't know if Trump pushed it through or Biden, but we were always saying don't, because we know it could be used against civilians, and that's what's
yeah.
happening. You know.
So technically, the back story here, if you haven't heard it yet, but please look into it. Um, I think it was last week. Was it last week?
Yeah, like a week ago. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like a week ago, there was a report that while an attack was happening, there was a helicopter that came in and was also shooting on people in a village.
yeah.
And I think it started to make a bit of a buzz on social media. But later, the government said that that the
Calm down,
helicopter,
people. It was
yeah, was
helping. It was
there to
defending.
actually help out,
Yeah,
But again, it goes back to the victims. You
yeah.
have the people that were there saying, "Man, we were being fired on," you know. So, um,
Right. That's what's being missed, right? It's not the fact that the helicopter's there. Everyone knows the helicopter was there. Everyone knows the Fulani militants were there. Everyone knows the villagers were being attacked. That's a fact. And then if you listen to the villagers say the helicopters were used against it, it's not saying that the helicopters were part of the Fulani militants. It was saying it was used against them. That's what they were
mhm,
saying. But
yeah,
yet everyone's saying, no, it wasn't part of the Fulani militants. You're not listening to the victims. They're saying they're being fired upon and being killed by their own defense security system.
yeah,
Where's the truth? Where's the retribution? Where's the apologies? If this was to happen in any other country, you'd get compensation. You get, if
yeah,
someone died, they whatever.
mhm,
This isn't going to happen. They'll barely even get an apology. They're saying, no, you're wrong. They're just one upping the whole situation. They're not providing any solace, any sort of respite, any sort of comfort to these victims. They're just basically
yeah,
saying, where it's tragic, but it's not true. Well, you're not listening to the victims. The
yeah,
victims are going to. There's going to come a time when these victims are going to want justice. I mean, they do
yeah,
want justice, but
yeah,
I think this next election is going to be. It's going to be pivotal if things don't happen. If certain candidates get in and they believe any sort of impropriety, any sort of voter rigging, it's going to blow up.
yeah.
I'm just certain of that.
And you can even see here, that the government of Kaduna State, having gone through all the facts, find it
Show us
regrettable
the
that a
facts. Tell us the
section of the
facts.
media would circulate an unverified
You're saying the
report and
media, whereas it's the
yeah.
locals. Yeah.
And then eyewitnesses to the peddling report of a
Yes.
helicopter aiding, so and
Eyewitnesses, people who were there, seeing people next to them being shot and killed by the helicopter, not
yeah,
by a gun coming in. You know what helicopter shoots down. You know that the bullets are coming from the top.
Yeah.
Eyewitness. So you're going to say an eyewitness is uninformed or didn't have the
Yeah.
facts straight. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But then I think that, the fairest way to do it is that whenever such things happen, there is a court case there, they let the victims
Has
also
to
come
be.
and have,
Has to be an
yeah,
investigation.
to come and
This is
say,
a
this is what we
military.
saw, this is what happened.
Exactly. There has to be an investigation.
Yeah.
You just simple, you do that, and then you present the facts, you give us the facts, you televise, you tell us what happened, and then we're good. If you tell us it was they came to help, great. But you killed some people, that's not great. But then we'll accept your apology, your
Yeah.
compensation, but you're not even going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't understand. That's
Yeah.
not a government in action. That's a government inactive.
Yeah. 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 And I feel that that's, again, like that is why so many people question, you know, if you make it harder for people to identify the truth and know, what is right and what is wrong, then, that is another thing that that affects how you even function as a government. Because if then
Yeah,
people cannot trust you and how you are leading and all of like there is no transparency within the fact that they can find something that they can, you know, believe shows them that there is some sort of truth, or there is some sort of clear what is the word
evidence, anything. Yeah,
process, yeah, that something went through, but they are equally saying that we have done our investigation. What you guys are saying is completely wrong, and live with that. And as you said, there is no form of like empathy over even those that lost their
yeah.
lives in
I mean,
whatever it was that was
how can an
happening.
investigation be done in a day, a week? Sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's years. You coming to a
Yeah,
conclusion like that. That means you don't care. You don't care about your citizens. You don't care about their safety.
right.
Yeah, I mean this is tragic, and it's not just Kaduna. It's Plateau. It's Benue. It's Taraba. It's Niger. It's all the states. People feel they are not being taken care of.
And that is why it's important, to to follow the stories,
Yeah,
because if you follow the stories, you will start to hear the consistencies in what the Nigerian people have been asking for, to what they have been feeling has not been right with what has been
yeah.
happening. And then you also hear, the other part to what the government has been trying to explain has been happening. But as you said, there has to be that due process where it is equal ground and everyone
Not
feels
even
that
due process.
they,
A
yeah,
process.
yeah,
Due
yeah,
process
well,
is a hope and a dream. A process should be a given, And
yeah,
I think that's before we finish. I think that's the biggest plug I have is that this app that we used. I'm not going to name it, but send us an email and we'll talk. But if you're in Nigeria, any of these hotspots, even if it's something police attacking civilians, let us know. The app can help because what it does is it documents geopolitical, it's evidentiary, it's locked in the cloud. It becomes something that people can come back to and say,
yeah,
we got a record of an incident here. Now they can gather more facts, whatever, but it marks it in time. It's an evidence. That's what we have to be doing because, without it, without sort of the people taking the matter to their own hands, apart from, not taking up arms, but just taking the responsibility to present and provide evidence and report, we're stuck at just doing nothing, throwing our hands up and saying, I give up, I can't do anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is why advocacy is so important, and knowing the right way to do it, and what actually works is what people need to educate themselves about how they can get involved, you know um, um, how they can make a difference, and how people that need the support can get the support, and most especially even the victims can be heard, you know.
Yep.
So continue to follow Icon, and as Kyle said, contact us if you want to know more about the app, or what you can do to even be a voice for the people in Nigeria, to help bring awareness about the atrocities and the persecution that is happening there. It's very, very important. If you have never been a part of any cause, find something, join Hope for Nigeria and Icons move in trying to bring hope for Nigeria.
Yeah.
So
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 we
thank you
started the
so
show with
much.
saying about there's hope in Nigeria. We do have hope, but this doesn't give us encouragement, but we still have hope. So
Yeah,
we'll keep hope alive.
yeah, yeah. So
Thanks,
thank
man.
you so much for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you next week. And yeah, thank you so much.